The application of tuning slide grease could not be easier. The trick here is just be consistent. So you open up your tuning slide grease. Again, a lanolin based is preferred. You feel free to go with whatever you like, but lanolin seems to work the best in my experience. Just take a little on there, dip it on one side, dip it on the other. Got some left over, so I'm going to save that for my other tuning slides here. Put some on, then just take two fingers, rub it gently, spread it around. There is going to be a little bit left over, but that's okay. Better a little too much than not enough. And now when I put it back in the instrument, I basically just put in one side first, and I like to rotate it all the way around so I can spread this nice and evenly. Then put in the other side, spread it all the way around, and then finally remove it, and then very gently reinsert it. If you have to force your tuning slide, if you have to pull, if you have to tip it either way, if you have to push real hard, something is wrong and you need to take your instrument into a good repair tech. If it's too loose, that's not a good thing. They can tweak it a little bit, or you can use a little thicker oil. But if it's too tight, that's almost always an indication of stress in the metal, and you really don't want to mess with that because it can damage your instrument. Okay, we've just been putting on tuning slide grease, and I've got lanolin all over my fingers. If I accidentally get that on my valve here, or if it mixes with valve oil, I'm going to get a sludge that is not fun. So before I start messing with valve oil, always wash your hands really well so you can get that residue off your finger. If you're a young trumpet player, you may have had somebody tell you, put it in here, here, and here, in the bottom three holes. Yeah, that doesn't work so well. Think about it. This is what's on the bottom of your trumpet. So you come in through this little tiny hole right here, it hits the bottom of the valve, hits this, and then when you turn the horn over to play, it falls back out. This side area right here is where we need the valve oil. So even though you might get a little bit through here, you're not going to get very much. So my rule of thumb is, basically I'll just put the trumpet between my two legs, and I'll use both hands to work with them. But basically just set it a little bit at an angle, lift the valve out, get my valve oil prepped and ready, and now I just oil it from the top and gently turn it to the right. Remember, always to the right so my valve doesn't become unscrewed or fall apart. And I'm just gently squeezing with my fingers. Now you might be looking at it going, oh my gosh, John, how much valve oil are you using? That's insane! But again, better use a little too much than not enough. And then when I reassemble my instrument and it's time to play, it's good times, everything works great. Here's a warning though, if you have not oiled your valves often, the very first time you start to apply a lot of oil like this, it may freeze up, it may, because what happens is the valve is very dry and it absorbs that oil, so it swells up like somebody stuck in the desert and all of a sudden they drink too much water. So don't worry about it, give it a few minutes, pull it out, and then within a few minutes it'll be fine again. But if you oil it a little bit every day, you're good to go. And again, if you got a valve oil bottle that's been lasting you 4, 5, 6, 8, a year, that's too much. Try to go 3 to 4 weeks for a bottle of valve oil. Oiling the valve on a rotary trombone. Whether it's a Thayer valve or a conventional rotor, you must oil your valve. So a lot of people do this maybe once a week. Some people wait twice a week, once a month, or until it sticks. Again, just like talking about piston valves, I've literally seen the plating wear off valves. People have valves that stick, valves that don't seal well. I was surprised when we first disassembled the Thayer on my first Edwards trombone. Looking at it and talking with the repair tech, he posited that it would actually play better if you oiled it more often because it would help seal the valve. And lo and behold, due to that space in there with the extra oil, it really made notes seal better and respond better. So I just make it a habit every day, first thing when I pull out my horn, it's time to oil my valve. Because I'd rather spend, again, $4 a month or every couple of months than $400 or more to get everything ripped apart, replated, and messed with. So here's the deal. There's 3 places you need to oil your valve. A lot of people will just do it under the cap. Under the cap is good, but that's not the majority of the surface area of the rotor. Think about it. It's moving around. It's all this stuff inside that's touching. But that said, once a week, take your cap off, and literally I just touch the tip of the bottle, and that one little drop right there is good enough to do the job. So once a week, I put 1 drop right there, and then you get your cap back on, Once a week, I will also put 1 drop right over here on the spindle where it connects. And here's one that most people don't do. 1 little drop right here on the springs, which attach it. Yeah, this can cause a little bit of grit, but just wipe it down with a Kleenex or a paper towel and you'll be fine. And that makes a huge difference, believe it or not. But here's the main thing. Every day you play, pull out your main tuning slide. And always be sure to put it in a safe place. And then I'll put the horn upright like this. I'll hold it in my right hand, grab the valve oil in my left. So my thumb right here is actuating the rotor. It's moving it while I take a good healthy squirt and put it right through. There's going to be a little bit that drips through. So you might want to get a paper towel, or I've got a little reservoir here where I collect the condensation while I'm playing. So I'll just put it above that, or just get a paper towel, wipe it off, and you're good to go. And literally, this thing will play a lifetime and you'll be fine.